Good morning, everybody. Today is kind of the beginning of a lot of stuff for people who invest in our future. And that is all the people who are part of our education in our world, taking care of our kids. And so today, what I want to do is to do a couple things. I want to honor and encourage everybody that is in the education business, whether you're a custodian, a principal, a yard lady, a homeschool teacher. I want to do something, and I know you're uncomfortable with this, but I just want you to do it because I think this is important, okay? I want you to stand right now. Come on. If you're in any part of the education system, stand up right now. Administrator. Okay, now stay standing. Yes. No. I want you to stay standing. Stay standing. I want to speak something over you, okay? And I want to encourage you guys as you educate this year, whether you're homeschool, doesn't matter, public school, whether you're an administrator, you're a support mechanism to the education staff. This is what I want you to hear today. As you step into this new school year, I want you to know that you're not just educators. You are image bearers of God, shaping future image bearers. And in a classroom, I'm sure there are days you wonder if you're making a difference at all, if you're shaping anybody's image and yours is being destroyed. But may your presence, your teaching, your direction bring life to each student, and may your faith be a light to all those around you. And I believe that this year, God will work through you in ways that go beyond the lesson plan. So with that, you guys, God bless you for what you do. Let's honor them one more time, all right? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to stand up, I want you to turn around, and I want you to say, thank God for our educators, all right? No, that's fine. Green Valley, who's happy to be in church today? All right, so am I, and I'm really, I'm kind of happy, sad, because we're ending this series, Imago Day, today, and it's been a really fun series, and if I had some forethought, we probably would have made this last some longer, because it's just got some great stuff in it about our divine imprint on God shining out to the world. And so if you're new, if this is your first Sunday, we've been doing this series on this phrase, Imago Day. What does that mean? It means image of God. And what we've been doing is we've been looking at how God's divine imprint is on all of us. And the tension that we've been dealing with in the entire series is how these people in the Bible had sin distort their Imago Dei, but how God worked through them to overcome that and make his divine imprint shine brightly. So our overall thought has been this: our lives are meant to reflect the image of God. And today, I want to talk about one of the biggest stumbling blocks. I think it is the biggest stumbling block to living out our Imago Dei, one that can really distort our image of God, and that's arrogance. And that starts with the power of strength. Arrogance actually starts with the power of strength. Now, how many of you watch the Strongest Man contest? Have you ever watched the Strongest Man contest? Yeah, okay, there's like 6. Wow, it's an important sport. All right. Anyway, the Strongest Man contest, they do these feats of strength. I mean, this is incredible stuff right here. And they got this big, thing that they have to throw over that gate, and then they do this, they hold there. Honestly, I love this because I was a part of it back in the day. This is me, if you remember me back in the day. I was part of that. Why are you laughing so hard? You don't believe that's me? But here's what happens at the feats of strength. At the end of the competition, they get an award, right? For being the strongest man in the world or the strongest woman in the world. They get that award. Now, here's the thing. There's probably not any of us in here that are going to win the strongest physical award in the world. But all of us want to be strong at certain things. Like, all of us want to be strong in our beliefs. All of us want to be strong in confidence in who we are. We want to be strong emotionally when things go through tough times. We want to be able to stand strong. We want to be strong spiritually. We want to be able to be grounded in what we believe about God and who God says we are. We want all this stuff. But here's the thing about strength. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be strong, but strength itself has a shadow side. And if we're not careful, it becomes a breeding ground for arrogance. Arrogance may be the most sinister and greatest distortion of God's image there is. And here's why. Because it forgets who we're supposed to reflect, and it makes everything about us. It forgets every strength, every gift, every breath that we have, that who gave it to us and where everything comes from. So today we're going to look at the story of probably one of the most famous stories of arrogance that brought the strongest man in the world down, and his name was Samson. He's the perfect example of unchecked strength that led to unbelievable brokenness. Now, let me encourage you this, and I really mean this. Go home and read the story of Samson, because we're not going to be able to cover the whole thing. But it's in the book of Judges. So it's a great story. There's a lot of stuff that you go, well, how come we didn't talk about that if you know the story? But even if you don't know the story, you're going to read it and you go, oh, I see all the stuff that we're talking about today. So go home and read it tonight. But let me kind of give you the context of the story. It's really interesting because 2 weeks ago we talked about Barak and Deborah, right? And if you remember that story, Barak and Deborah were people that were called by God to work in collaboration to help the Israelites to overthrow the Canaanites and kick them out and, get them stop harassing them. Well, they did that, and there was peace for a little while, but right after that, a little while later, the Israelites fell back into pagan practices, and the Bible says this in Judges 13. Again, the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord, so the Lord delivered them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. So the Philistines did what the Philistines did. They'd harass them. They'd take everything from them that they wanted. They would, do all kinds of bad things to them, kill them, to make them slaves, the whole kind of thing. So during this time period, God had heard their cry and sent a message to the parents of Samson and said, you're going to have this son, and he's going to lead your country to freedom. He's going to lead your people to freedom. And this is what it says. It says, for this is Samson talking about, will be dedicated to God as a Nazirite from birth. He'll begin to rescue Israel from the Philistines. Now stay with me, because there's 3 important things you have to understand about being a Nazirite. John touched on them last week. One, Nazirite is someone who is dedicated to God for a significant reason or purpose. Just like Hannah in John's message dedicated Samuel for a specific reason, so is Samson. He's set apart from other people, and he was set apart to rescue the Israelites from the oppression of the Philistines. Now, the second thing about a Nazirite you have to understand, it means that one who is consecrated, meaning with the privilege of being set apart by God, there comes some requirements. And his requirements were threefold. Abstain from alcohol, never cut your hair, never go near or touch a dead animal or human. Now, that last one, let me read it again, because we're going to come back to it. I want to see if you see what happens. Never go near or touch a dead animal or human. Okay, get that in your brain. The third thing about a Nazirite is God empowers Samson with his spirit, which revealed in superhuman strength. And some of the superhuman things feats that Samson does in the story is this. He takes a gate, he pulls a gate off a city, and he carries it all the way up into the mountains. He kills an adult lion with his bare hands. He kills 1,000 of the Philistines' enemies with the jawbone of a donkey. I mean, this guy is just unbelievably strong. He's the Hulk of his day. So Samson, in the moment that we're going to talk about, has ruled as a judge now for 20 years, okay? And there's this climactic moment in his story. So what has happened is that he's had an illicit affair with a gal named Delilah, and Delilah is being used by the Philistines to find out his secret to his strength. So in this relationship, She kind of wears him down to the point where he's careless, and he lets Delilah know that these are the three things that set me apart, and I don't do these things. Well, when he falls asleep, she has the Philistines come in because she had cut his hair. And when the Philistines come in, his strength is gone. They grab him, they put him in prison. And in prison, Samson is every day grinding wheat. Now, I don't know if you've seen donkeys that walk in a circle and they have that stone that they push all day long. Samson was that donkey. That's what he did in prison every day. And not only that, because they didn't want him to escape, they wanted to make a mockery of him. They gouged out his eyes so he couldn't find his way around. So one day they're having a party, the Philistines, and they want to mock Samson. So they bring him into the arena that they're all having the party with, and they put Samson in the middle so that they can mock him. And they put him between two huge pillars. So here's Samson, okay? Here's where he's at. He's a prisoner. He can't see. He's got no strength. He's completely hopeless, and he's being mocked by this crowd. And this is where we pick up the story. Then Samson prayed to the Lord. Now listen to this. Sovereign Lord, key word, remember me again. Maybe some of you prayed a prayer like that before. Oh God, please strengthen me just one more time. Then Samson put his hands on the two pillars that held up the temple, pushing against them with both hands. He prayed, let me die with the Philistines. Now, in this one little paragraph that I read are some important principles about arrogance and about dependence. And so today, what I want to talk about is two specific things: the power of arrogance and the power of dependence. Because here's the thing: true strength comes from knowing whose strength we truly depend on. So let's start with this first one: the deceptive power of arrogance. Now, in modern slang, there's something called flexing. Now, I'm just learning some of this stuff, okay? And flexing is when you're a little bit higher on yourself and what you do. Like, this is what I was told flexing was with muscle. But it's not just that. It can be in all different kinds of things, And that's what the young people do. They say, I'm flexing. But it's kind of this statement of, look who I am, look what I can do. Now, I think that sometimes when we flex in life, we can think of ourselves a little too highly than we should have. Because here's the deal: a little bit of arrogance can create a big distortion in your life. I love this meme. Check this meme out. This is a great meme. Look at the shadow. Talk about a distortion, right? That's a huge distortion. But here's what life is more like, and this is great too. It says, when you see a turtle on the top of a fence post, you know he didn't get there on his own. That's more of the reality of life. But do you see what arrogance can do? It can make us think more of ourselves than we should. Okay, now with that in mind, pay close attention to what I'm about to read, okay? Later, when he returned to Timon, this is Samson, for the wedding, he turned off the path to look at the carcass of the lion. He found that a swarm of bees had made some honey in the carcass. He scooped away some of the honey into his hands and ate it along the way. He also gave some to his father and mother, and they ate it, but he didn't tell them he had taken the honey from the carcass of a lion. Now, at first, doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is. Samson had taken that Nazirite vow, right? Never to touch the carcass of a dead body or an animal. And he knows what he's done, because when he offers it to his parents, he won't tell them where he got it, because they know his vows as well. Can you see the deception of arrogance and the power of arrogance? If you can't, let me kind of give you a picture of it. I'm Samson. I'm the leader of this country. I'm a hero. I'm the one standing up to the Philistines. This country needs me. Surely God would let me slide on this one. Surely it's not that big of a deal because I'm Samson. And besides, it's just honey. Honey never hurt anybody. Nobody really knows what I did. Can you see it? Arrogance told him the rules didn't apply to him. And that mindset led him to break his vows again and again in different levels, if you read the story. Here's the truth about you and me. Every one of us is vulnerable to the deception of arrogance. It goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. Now, see if you can't see the deception of arrogance in this line from when the enemy, Satan, as a snake, comes and says to Eve, this is what he says to her. Did God really say you must not eat from the fruit of the trees in the garden? He didn't come up to her and say, hey, go eat it. What did he do? He put a question in her mind that made her lack trust in God. And let me tell you something, the enemy's been doing this from the beginning of time to right now. The question that distorts our Imago day and it starts to chip away at our trust in God's principles and the way he has designed us and the wisdom of how we're supposed to live. Did Jesus really say, I'm the way, the truth, and the life? That feels exclusive. Surely there's got to be other paths to God. Did Jesus really say, love your neighbor? Even the ones I can't stand? Did Jesus really say to be generous? I worked for that. It's mine. Did Jesus really say to care for the least of these? Did Jesus really say marriage is between a man and a woman? That sounds outdated. Did Jesus really say lust is like adultery? It seems a little bit extreme. You see, the enemy's been using this question from the beginning of time to appeal to the arrogance that lies in all of us. And right now, we have an interesting dynamic going on in this season of life we're in right now, not just in our country, but all over the world. We see a return and a hunger for spirituality. It's all over the place. People are hungry for some kind of spirituality. And the truth is, a lot of younger people, especially Gen Z, are coming back to the church. And they're trying to explore who Christ is because they see how the world works and they're just going, that ain't what I want. They're coming back. But here's the problem. The problem is this, is right now, when we're living in this season of spiritual hunger and people are coming back, here's the thing. People are craving a connection to God, but they are resistant to living out their lives by the wisdom of God. That's where the arrogance comes in. I want to know God. I want to feel God. I love God. But you know what? I don't know if everything he says is right. I love what Tim Keller says. He says, what happens if you eliminate anything from the Bible? What happens if you eliminate anything from the Bible that offends your sensibility and crosses your will? If you pick and choose what you want to believe and reject the rest, how will you ever have a God who can contradict you? You have a Stepford God. Now, those who don't know what Stepford is, it's from the movie The Stepford Wives. And it's a novel and a film of wives replaced with robotic, submissive versions of themselves. And Tim is warning against crafting God to suit our preferences rather than letting his wisdom shape our lives. What did Jesus say? And he said this, and let me hear, I want you to context. And when he says this, just one sentence I'm going to tell you. He said, in the last days, meaning before I return, he says, watch out that no one deceives you. He says there's going to be a lot of people coming in my name and saying, this is the right way, this is the way. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to try to distort the truth. And he says, watch out. Let no one deceive you. And then he says, blessed are those who hear the word of God and keep it. So let me ask you, because I've had to ask myself, let me just say this as on a side note. This message has been very impactful to me in the studying side, because as somebody that has the privilege and honor to stand before people and share the word of God, the sinister arrogance can show up and make you think you're a little bit bigger than you are. And people come up and they say to me, oh man, that's a great message, changed my life. And my usual response is thank you, but the Bible makes me sound a lot smarter than I really am. But I'm a victim of it as well. I could be a victim of it as well. So let me ask you a couple of questions to help you kind of sift through, am I getting distorted? Is my life being distorted by the deception of arrogance? Here's a question. If your version of Jesus never says no, is it possible you're following a reflection of yourself and not Christ? If there's a part of Jesus' teaching on money, sexuality, forgiveness, justice that you constantly ignore or rationalize, is that going on? Have you ever said, I don't think God would really care about that, without checking what he actually said? Have I convinced myself that being nice and kind matters more than standing for the truth? Have you built a version of God who looks like, behaves, and acts just like you? If you have, you're probably not following the real Jesus. And all that is fed by arrogance, which we're all susceptible to. So with that warning of the power of arrogance, let's talk about what is the antidote. Because the antidote to the power of arrogance is the restorative power of dependence. Now stay with me on this. How many of you have ever been in something that you said, man, this is way over my head? Anybody ever done that? Okay, lots of you. Good. I'm glad. We're honest. Confession is great. That's a beautiful thing. So I got to tell you, I'm thankful for my son-in-law, because technology is not my thing. As a matter of fact, I have I've told you I have the little anger issue. So when I'm working with technology, there's a short fuse. Man, if I press a button and it doesn't work, that remote control's going against the wall. It's something like that. Amen. That's got something right. So he's come into our life, my son-in-law, and he's just amazing, because he helps us fix things when we're over our head, when we don't try to make this thing talk to this thing, and we don't know how to do it. He knows how to do it, so it's a wonderful thing to have him come and help us. As a matter of fact, this is how over our head we were. When he was trying to ask for our daughter's hand in marriage, he was living in Switzerland at the time because he's a Swiss, and so it had to be on a Zoom call, right? So that's new to Kelly and I. So he's asking for our hand in marriage. We had this long conversation for about 45 minutes, talking great, blah, 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 back and forth. Little did we know that Kelly and I had positioned our thing in such a way that only half of our face was seen the entire time we were talking. And he was new to us, so he didn't want to say anything to these old farts don't know what they're doing, that kind of thing. So it's beautiful to have somebody, when you're in over your head, come in and help you. Okay, stay with me. If you try to live on your own power, then you're going to find yourself over your head multiple times. It's just the way life is. So dependence is the antidote for our arrogance, because it restores what arrogance has broken. So let me go back to the story on this. Samson acted independently for most of his life, right? He's got nothing left. No sight, no strength, no power, no friends. He's a prisoner, and he's standing being mocked by a crowd. He's totally at the end of himself, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Just ask our CR people. And this is what he says. Then Samson prayed to the Lord, sovereign Lord. Now, I know you know what the word sovereign means, but let's just go there for a second. It means you are in control of all things. Your authority rules. And in this moment, Samson is acknowledging who God is. Sovereign Lord, remember me again. Oh God, please strengthen me just one more time. Now, I want you to notice a couple things about this passage. Notice that he doesn't ask to be freed or given back his place of power. He doesn't ask for any of that. All he asks is, let me fulfill my role one last time. He has come to a place where he's completely dependent on God. And why is this so important? Because this is when his life starts to turn and his Imago Dei shines its brightest. Samson's Imago Dei didn't shine most from his strength. Actually, in the story, his Imago Dei shined brightest through his surrender. Now, I want to give you 3 things to help you stay dependent on God every day so that the distortion and the power of arrogance doesn't, roll us away from God or move us away from God. The first thing is to acknowledge. That's what Samson did when he said sovereign. He acknowledged God. He humbled himself and he acknowledged God. He realized, this is the key, he realized that his source of strength didn't come from himself. It was a gift that was given by God. And that's a really key thing. I was last year we were in Rockland and there was this hill, we were driving and there was this hill that there was 2 people biking up that as we were going by. And in the front is a young guy. He's probably 12, 13 years old. And he's pedaling for all he's worth. I mean, he's standing on the pedals and he just, every bit of energy he can get up the hill. What I presume is his dad is in the back. Dad's pedaling, he's got a smile. No issues at all. He's just kind of looking, looking around. And you want to know why? His son had a regular bike, he had an e-bike. The hill was much better because he had another source of power and strength. When you acknowledge that your giftings, your talents, the air that you breathe, the car that you drive, all have come from God, first of all, it takes all the pressure away, but it also releases you from the one that has to make it happen. I can handle it. I can fix it. And it helps you walk through all kinds of different things. I just mentioned it earlier on, but I have to mention it again. Our CR leadership team went to a training this last Saturday. And they sent us a picture of them all outside, and it's really cool. And let me just say something that some of us don't really understand who haven't had to go through some kind of process of getting over a hurt, hang-it, or habit that has brought us to the bottom of life. All of us have hurts, habit, and hang-ups. All of us do. But some of those times it goes to the bottom of life. It's not necessarily a bad thing because what's happened in people who go to CRs, they realize that I can't do it on my own. It's the first step. I've realized that I'm powerless and my behavior's out of control. And the next one is I need something else. I need God to help me. So every day that you get up, just acknowledge, man, when you're in your car, say, God, thank you for the car. It might be not the car that you like. I've had lots of those cars in my life. But it's getting you from A to B. It may be the fact that you just were able to breathe this morning and you were able to go on a walk. Acknowledge that everything that you have comes from God. The Bible says, listen to this. This is a promise. Humble yourself in the sight of the Lord, and he shall lift you up. He will do it. He will be the source of strength, the source of emotional stability. He will be the person that will help you work through serious financial issues. He will be the resourcing of you. He will do it. The second thing is not just acknowledge, but ask. What does Samson do? He asks God for help. He said, allow me to fulfill my purpose one more time. And I think the thing about asking for help for all of us is not something we want to do because it means revealing a weakness or an insecurity or something that we just, we don't want people to know. There's a little shame to it. I love this one meme that shows this very perfectly. It says, don't ask, but yes, I could use some help. Yeah. And I know there's a lot of people who feel that way. You know how you know who your best friend is? When you got one phone call and you're in jail. That's how you know who your best friend is. But here's the deal, asking for help, and I want you to hear this cleanly, because a lot of it, and mainly there's a lot of guys who are stuck in this one, and I is one, okay? Asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. It's why we do a lot of things around here at the ministries. It's because people are coming looking for help, and we want to point them to God. And we rally around them and help them as they look to God. Whether it's through food or memorial ministry or our big Wednesdays or our youth ministries, it doesn't matter. All those ministries are why? It's to help us shine our Imago day the best, and sometimes you just can't do it on your own. So you got to acknowledge, you got to ask. Here's the last one, you got to allow. Most of Samson's life was marked by arrogance, but at the end of his life, in this moment, he cries out to God, not with personal strength, but God. He needs God's strength. And he says, Sovereign Lord, remember me, please, God, strengthen me once more. He wasn't bargaining with God. He wasn't making a deal. Like, if you get me out of this, I'll do this and this and this. And we've all done that too. He's not bargaining. He just said, God, here I am. Will you please use me in any way you see fit in this last moment of my life? His Imago day shined the brightest because of his dependence on God. And here's what I love, because I love this church. I love it with all my heart, is that we get to see glimpses of people relying on God. We get to see glimpses of people whose Imago day is shining bright, even in the midst of brokenness and sin and all that stuff. We get to see glimpses of it. And sometimes, when people see something that is very extraordinary, something very good, like someone is so kind or sacrificial or goes beyond the normal of just politeness to people, they look at it and they can't put their finger on it, but inside their mind, they're probably saying this, they're probably saying, I can't put my finger on it exactly, but what that person just did, that kind of looks like God. I think about the single mom who feels overwhelmed, but prays every day, God, help me, show my kids love today, even though I'm exhausted. That's real. The student who feels anxious about life but says, God, I'll trust you. I'll show up to class. I'll study hard. I'll focus. But I need you to guide my steps because I really don't know where I'm going in life and I'm a little afraid. It's the man struggling with addiction who prays, God, I've fallen again, but I'm not giving up. Use this weakness to lead me closer to you. That's why Paul said, in my weakness you are strong. In my weakness, you are strong. Paul said that. He said, in your weakness, I am strong. God said that to Paul, excuse me. Now, I could talk about a ton of people at Green Valley, but I'm going to talk about two as we close the service today. I haven't talked about these people ever because they're close friends, and I don't want there to be any favoritism, but like I said, there's hundreds and hundreds of these kinds of people in Green Valley, but their Imago day is really impressive. One of them is Rich Wetmore. Maybe you know Rich has been part of the men's ministry. He's been at this church for 20-some years. I got to spend some time with him last night. He's an impressive person. And the reason is because when you talk to him, you will understand two things. If you talk to him long enough, you'll understand two things about his life. Other than he loves his family and his wife and all that good stuff, he loves God. I mean, I think of, and he's going to get a big head. I don't think he's in this service. So that's good. But I think of him, he's kind of like Enoch. I look at him, I think of, there's that guy walks with God. So we were doing that last night. But you know what else comes through? He's a teacher. And he has a passion for kids. And there's days he comes home and he's frustrated out of his mind, just like many of you educators are. You're just tired. You're like, nobody's listening. You got behavioral issues. But even in that, Rich has this passion for kids to understand who they are in God, because our culture is trying to tell them something completely different. And when I see that, and when I heard that last night, I go, that looks like God. And what am I seeing? I'm seeing God's divine imprint in Rich. He's obviously not God, but I'm seeing his divine imprint in him. Let me talk about another person. This just happened to be his wife, Nicole Wetmore. You've seen her. She's on staff here. She's our operations executive, and she's an amazing human being. And in this last 6 months, I think the Imago Day in her has shined brightly more than ever before, because I've just been amazed. And some of you don't know all the stuff that she's gone through. She's in pain 24/7. She's been to multiple MRIs and doctors trying to figure out what's going on in her body. Just absolute pain. She has a battle with cancer, had a mastectomy. And yet, she shows up to work in pain, struggling, and puts on a smile and keeps pushing Jesus forward every step of the way. It's not easy. There's times where there's weakness. But when I see her function through this, I go, man, that looks a lot like God. It's really impressive. It's God's divine imprint on her life to show strength in the midst of really difficult times. So, Green Valley, our prayer is simple. That when we look at our lives, that when the world looks at our lives, it will make them stop and say, I don't know exactly what that is, but kind of looks like God. We want our divine imprint to shine through our whole community. Why? So people can see God. So let's commit together not to let sin, shame, or brokenness distort that imprint. Not because we have to be perfect, but because God is powerful enough to shine through imperfect people. So here's how I want to end this service, okay? I would like for you to stand. And I'd like you to repeat this after me if you want to. There's no pressure here, but I'd like you to repeat this after me as a commitment to our Imago Day, our divine imprint. God, we surrender our strength and our weaknesses. Use every part of our lives for your glory. Let your divine imprint shine through us so that the world may know you and see in us Imago Day. God bless you guys.